Hey everyone, so this video is going to be a little bit different than everything else I've done on the channel so far. We're not going out on an adventure today, but as you've known, if you've been a subscriber for any amount of time, we love to fly drones, and we love taking the drone out and getting drone footage of different places we've been. Transport Canada has put in a whole bunch of new regulations that are going to come into effect on June the 1st of this year, 2019. And so we have to go through a little bit of a process if we're going to continue to fly legally after that date. Now, the first step is registering our drone. So I have popped over here onto my main computer. I'm at the Transport of Canada Drone Management Portal. Now, this is the first time I have gone through this registration process, so I'm going to be going through it as we go here. So far it's pretty straightforward. It asks me, am I an individual who owns and flies drones, or am I representing a business or government organization? Asks for some personal information, email address, telephone number, first name, last name, date of birth. Here's the first one that gives me a real bit of concern. Are you a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada? Foreign residents are not eligible to register or operate a drone in Canada. If you are a foreign resident and wish to operate a drone in Canada, you must apply for a special flight operation certificate. Okay, Mark Garneau, if you're out there listening, this is absolutely stupid. No other way to describe it. Hands down, it is stupid. There is no way that someone who's coming to Canada as a tourist should not be allowed to fly a drone. Take a clue from what the FAA did in the United States. I'm a Canadian citizen. When I travel to the United States, I go onto the FAA portal. I've registered my drone. I mark my drone with my FAA number. I'm legally entitled to fly in the US. Why Canada thinks that we're special and we have to put a rule against foreign residents flying drones, no idea. That's got to get corrected. That's got to get corrected soon. So let's carry on. Let's hit continue here. And we'll let it spin for a minute. Step number 2, verify your email address. We've sent a confirmation to djI.com. I think you just heard the sound there of it coming in. So I'm going to get a 6-digit confirmation code. So verification code's been entered into the site. Account registration, step number 3. Basic information, mailing address, city, province, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to punch that all in here and say continue. Welcome. All right. Step, select one of the drone services. Register a drone, take an exam, or apply for your pilot certificate advanced operations. Well, first thing I'm doing is I'm going to register. So I will go in and click on register a drone. You must register to operate any drone weighing between 250 grams and 25 kilograms within Canada. And then I love how they spin the benefits of registration. If you lose your drone, registration may help you in returning it if it's found. Good point. I'll accept that. I mean, we really know it's about trying to enforce and track down people who are idiots when they fly drones, but I love that they're trying to spin it as a benefit. At least this is better than the current regulations, which actually require you to put your name and address on your drone. At least with just a registration number, there's some semblance of privacy. Now, they haven't been really clear, or at least I haven't seen it anywhere, as to who has access to the database that contains everyone's addresses and phone numbers and registration numbers. So I don't know how private this really is going to be, but for now, it's better than what we have. So score 1 for Transport Canada. Eligibility, any drone between 250 grams and 25 kilograms. Thank you for being very redundant. You do not need to register if you're under 250 grams. If you're over 25 kilograms, you don't need to register, but you need a special flight operation certificate. Okay, what you need. You will need your purchase date, make, model, serial number, and weight of type type of drone, and of course your credit card, because there's a $5 non-refundable fee to register. Another thing, and I'm going to find this out when I get further into this, I've heard that you have to register each drone. And again, this is very different from what the FAA in the United States has done. The FAA basically said you can register yourself as a drone operator for one price, and you can then have as many drones as you want using that registration number. I believe here in Canada, they're making us register and pay $5 for each drone you own. Is it a big deal? No, I guess not. I mean, if you've spent $1,000 or more on a drone, another $5 isn't going to kill you. But it's still a lot of nickel and diming, and, you know, whatever. It is what it is. Like I said, it's better than the current system. Okay, begin registration. Let's see. Provide the following information. All fields are mandatory. Your options are: I purchased a new or used drone, or I built a drone using either a kit or off-the-shelf custom parts. That's kind of interesting. I purchased a new or used drone, and there is no existing Transport Canada registration number on the drone, so I will have to enter the date in which I purchased it. I've been flying drones for almost 2 full years now. I actually purchased this drone in January of 2018. In fact, it was the 18th is my email receipt from Best Buy, so that's what I'm going to use as my purchase date. Click Next. What is the make or model? So let's see. Okay, I select the drop down and all it does is say enter 3 or more characters. So let's start with DJI. Okay, that's so far working. Mavic Pro. Hey, look at that, it's listed. What is the serial number? Okay, you'll have to forgive me here, but I'll try and, I've got my Mavic Pro here. Okay, I think that's correct. I think so. We'll give it a shot if it actually does any verification, or if it just goes, yeah, that sounds like a serial number. Okay, so register a drone. Summary. Registered owner has my information in there, has my phone number, date of birth, email address, got my Mavic Pro complete with serial number listed. I now have to click and say I certify the information I've given is correct to the best of my knowledge, and pay for the registration. Okay, well, let's give the government a little bit more money, because they don't take enough from us off of paychecks and everything else all along the way. MasterCard has been entered into the site. My transaction has been approved. I've been given my order ID number. And registration confirmed. Your payment has been processed and the following drone was successfully registered. We have sent you an email confirmation with your registration information. You will now need to mark the outside of your drone with the registration number assigned by either applying a label with the information or writing the information with permanent marker. Even though I still have a few months before these new regulations take effect, I think it's good to get the registration done early. I can print it off, I'll throw it in the bag with the drone. That way I've got it. If I'm questioned, I can produce it. Okay, now we're going to go on to the exam portion of things. I have not tried the exam before. This is going to be the first time I'm trying it. I've looked at, I won't call it the study guide, but I have looked at the list of subjects that they cover in the basic exam, and I'm a little hesitant to take it and waste $10 and fail, but I'm kind of curious to see what the experience is like for someone who's going into it cold without having spent, you know, hundreds of dollars potentially on taking flight school to fly a basic recreational drone. Before you can obtain certification, you'll need to complete the online exam to ensure you have sufficient knowledge to operate a drone safely. Again, they're always pushing the safety thing. It's not a money grab. $10 non-refundable fee for basic or advanced exams. Eligibility, 14 years of age or older to take the small basic exam. You have to be 16 to take small advanced. I'm well over both of those ages, even if you were to add them together, so let's just not go there. 15 to 60 minutes to complete the exam. If you have a problem, you can return and resume as long as it's within the designated time frame. If you run out of time, whatever you have will be submitted and scored. To begin, you need an understanding of drone and aviation safety, and of course your credit card. And again, this is where I kind of shake my head with the whole aviation safety thing. If you're flying a basic recreational drone, you're flying it under 120 meters, which is the new maximum altitude that we're going to be allowed as of June 1st. Currently it's 90 meters. If you're flying within all the other rules, such as keeping it within visual line of sight, keeping it under that 120 meter mark, I don't really think you need to know a whole lot about aviation safety to fly a drone. But again, hey, Mark Garneau's been in space. He knows more than I do, right? So let's carry on. So this is kind of funny. I clicked continue and it's asking you to choose your exam. Small basic exam for the drones weighing 250 grams to 25 kilograms. You may not fly within 5.6 kilometers, 3 nautical miles of an airport. You may not fly within 1.9 kilometers, 1 nautical mile of a heliport, within 100 feet, 30 meters of people as measured horizontally, and not over advertised events such as outdoor concerts or sporting events. Frankly, for most people flying a drone recreationally, that's about all you really need to know. If you can get that much straight and obey those rules, you're pretty much a safe flyer, and all this other stuff is a whole big waste of time. Okay, I just forked over my $10 and registered for the basic exam here. So it's 35 multiple choice questions, must be completed within 90 minutes, so a little less than 3 minutes per question. You need 65% to pass. If you close your browser at any time during the exam, you may log in and resume as long as you're within the allotted time. You need JavaScript enabled and a wired internet connection is recommended. After answering each question, press continue to navigate to the next question, go back to go to the previous page, and at the end of the exam, press finish. Pretty straightforward. Now the big thing here, I will not copy, transmit, distribute, share, record, or post any exam questions or responses electronically, digitally, or by any other means to anyone. So I am just going to cancel the screen recorder here and leave it at that. I will sort of record my thoughts as I take the exam without giving away the questions or anything, and we'll see where we go from here. Well, hopefully I pass, because I don't like spending $10 on nothing. Okay, we're off. Start exam. And I'm on the first question, and if you saw the stunned look on my face, it's because I have no freaking idea what this question has to do with flying a drone. None at all. This is something that I would expect more in a biology, I was going to say biology 30, but I don't even think that course exists. It's what I would expect from a high school biology class. Nothing at all to do with drones or safety. So let's go with that. Question number 2 is a definition question. This is interesting. I don't like the wording of the question. There's 4 options. I can eliminate 1 right away. It gets me down to 1 in 3. I would say I can probably eliminate a second one. And I think after reading it more carefully, I can eliminate a third one. So I think I have that one right. And here's another one. It's an acronym question. And I have no idea. I've never heard of that acronym. And again, if I haven't heard of it after 2 years of piloting a drone, it's probably not relevant. So this one is going to be a straight up guess. Number 4 should be fairly straightforward. Not sure why it's relevant to anything. Number 5, I think, is pretty straightforward. There's only one answer that really makes sense. Question 6, I think, would make more sense in the advanced exam, since it's asking about something I'm not allowed to do with a basic certificate anyway. So that's going to be a guess. Number 7 is kind of a physics thing. I'm going to have to guess at that one because it's completely irrelevant to flying a drone. Question 8. I would think there's 2, maybe 3 possible answers that I see to be true. There's no, A and B, A or B, all of the above type answers here. So I am going to pick the one that I think is the best answer, not necessarily the only correct one. Next one of the few questions, this is question 9, one of the few questions I've seen so far that are actually relevant to the use of drones. And question 10 is another one that does not apply to anyone doing basic operations and really has no business being on this exam. Number 11 is talking about helicopters, and not in regards to drone, but in terms to actually flying a helicopter. Don't know why this is relevant at all. Number 12. I have a pretty educated guess on this one. Again, this is not a bad question. This is relevant. So that's one of the few so far, I think, that has been. Let's move on to lucky 13. Good. 13. Good, legitimate drone operating question, something you should know. So I'll give them points for that one. 14. Again, not relevant at all to drone operations. Maybe if I was applying to be an air traffic controller, it might be of use, but for flying a drone recreationally, completely stupid waste of time question. 15, good question, I guess, in the sense of it's sort of relevant, but I don't have a good answer, so I'm just guessing at that one. This is not going well, by the way. Next one's kind of an electronics question. Interesting to know, not actually needed to know in order how to fly a drone. Question 17, good drone question. Everyone should know the answer to that before flying, so I'll give them points for that. Question 18, another good, solid drone question. People should know the answer to it. I kind of object to the fact that they flip back and forth, not only between questions, but sometimes within the same question as to whether they're using metric or imperial measurements. We're in Canada. It's a Canadian exam. Foreign residents aren't even allowed to take the exam. Actually, they're not even allowed to register their drone. So I'm thinking you'd probably be pretty safe using pure metric measurements, so we're all playing on the same field here, Transport Canada. Yeah, feet, meters, nautical miles. Yeah, I understand nautical miles because it's a aviation thing, but again, good question, just I don't like your answers. Question 19, I'll call it drone related, half decent question. I don't have an answer, but I have a somewhat of a good guess based on my experience. Question 20, not relevant to flying a drone at all. '21 is kind of a really specific situation that I don't have a good answer for. Again, I can see logical reasonings for both 1, 2, and 3, maybe not 4, so I'm kind of guessing a 1 in 3 chance on this one. 22, I think, is pretty straightforward. Good drone question. We've kind of covered it a bit already in the exam. I guess these are very randomized answers, which you would expect. 23, good basic regulation question. I'm pretty confident I'll get that one right. 24, depending on how you want to read it, could be relevant to the basic operations of a drone, but I'll give them a pass on this one regardless. It's a good question. I think I know the answer to it. 25. 25 is an interesting question. I think it's, well, I want to say it's good, and it's a good drone question, but the bottom line is, if you're in that situation, the answer, or whether or not you know the answer to this question, isn't really going to be relevant. Let's just put it that way. I think that's about all I can say without giving anything away. 26. 26 is actually a question I think would be more relevant to an exam on geocaching than drone flights, and even then, it's a bit of a stretch. It's, yeah, this is something 2 years, I mean, I know this, so I know I've got this one right, but in 2 years of flying a drone, this information has never been useful nor relevant. So, but you know what? I need every mark I can get on the exam right now, so I'll take it. 27, very relevant for the advanced exam, not applicable to the standard operations exam. Obviously they're pulling out of the same bank of questions for each, for the exam. They're not only pulling from this bank for basic and the whole bank for advanced. So it's, yeah, I'm going to make a best guess at this one. Okay, 28. 28, very simple question, very straightforward, clear answer, something everyone should know. 28, good question. And again, thanks for the free mark. I needed that. 29. 29, good question. The again, the wording of it's kind of weird, but 29's good question, very applicable, good to know. So I'll give them a good mark on that one. 30. 30, it's kind of common sense, I would think. Most people would get this even if they've never flown a drone. Is it applicable to recreational flying? No, not really. Do you need to know it? No, not really. I mean, is it good information? Sure. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to file that in the, not a bad question, but not really one of the ones they should be focusing on. Bank. 31. I have never come across this, but I think I have a good answer for it, so I'm going to go with that. 32, and was it relevant? Again, I'm going to file that in the maybe kind of category. Okay, 32. 32 is a complete guess. Would be relevant if I was going for an advanced exam, would be relevant if I was going for a pilot's exam. Flying a recreational drone, completely irrelevant. Best guess on that one, 33. I am going to say again, this is kind of overkill for a basic exam. Again, I think I know the answer. It's going to be really touch and go as to, no pun intended for all the pilots out there, as to whether or not I actually pass this, but we're on to 34 now. Yeah, it's a good regulation question that you should know for piloting a basic drone. So yeah, I'll give them 34. Good question. And 35, final exam. And it's again completely 100% irrelevant to the basic operations of a drone. So this is going to be a straight up guess. Did I finish? Well, I finished, obviously. Did I pass? I'm going to go out on a limb and say I probably did not. There was enough irrelevant questions in the exam. I don't think I'm going to hit 65% unless I got a lot of lucky guesses. Just looking at the amount of time the video's been recording here, it's about 20 minutes total. So, 90 minutes is really generous to complete the exam. This was a 100% legitimate taking of the exam. I mean, I'm sure it'd be quite easy to have a second screen going here and be looking up the answers as you take the exam. But like I said, I wanted to do this completely legit, completely fair, and to try it out as someone who went out and bought a drone, read some of the regulations that are coming into effect as of June 1st, and took the exam. So, moment of truth, click finish, say submit. Did I just waste $10? Survey says, wait for it. Oh my God, I passed. Wow, I can't believe I really can't believe I passed. I thought there were enough irrelevant questions in there that I was not even going to come close. But there we go. I now have my pilot certificate for small, remotely piloted aircraft, visual line of sight, basic operations. Woo! I have to admit, I'm actually really happy that worked out for me. Transport Canada, you just got $15 out of me. Am I any safer as a pilot now than I was, 15 minutes ago? No, absolutely not. There's no way around it. If you know those basic regulations I talked about at the start of the video, it's really all you need to know to fly safely. I mean, I understand there has to be laws and regulations. You can't just put out a law that says, you know what, don't fly like an idiot and everything will be okay. So I get the need for regulations. I think the exam is way more difficult than it needs to be for basic operations. I think if you covered things like distance from, observers, maximum altitude, distances from airports, things like that, that's all you really need. The rest of this stuff with radio frequencies and all of this, you don't need that for basic operations because you're flying outside the controlled airspace of an airport anyway. So you're not going to be communicating to a control tower or to other aircraft. It's really overkill. Transport Canada, word of advice, you've missed the mark on this one. Since I'm giving out free advice to Transport Canada as well, if there's one thing you could do that I would really like to see the $15 I just spent get used towards, it's put out some educational information for the general public. The general public needs to know Just because you're flying a drone doesn't mean you're spying on them. It doesn't mean you're casing their property. It doesn't mean you're violating their privacy. Flying a drone in a legal and responsible manner is not a crime. And there's too many people in the general public who don't fly drones that think that flying a drone is something inherently evil. And there needs to be public education about it. There needs to be awareness created for the non-drone public that, you know what? It's the guy hanging in the bushes with, a telephoto lens that big. He's the risk to your privacy. If someone wants to spy on you, they're not going to throw a quadcopter up in the air and hover it 3 feet outside your window. They don't need to. If your curtains are open, they'll sit across the road with a telephoto lens. Have we got this straight yet? Sorry, it's something that really bugs me whenever drone discussions come up online and you see people who are like, if I ever see one of them things over my yard, I'm going to shoot her down. Yeah, no, you can't shoot down aircraft. You don't shoot at helicopters that are flying over. You don't shoot at airplanes. You shouldn't be shooting at drones. Yes, there are irresponsible drone pilots out there that are going to be idiots and do stupid things. None of these regulations are going to fix stupid. But they can help address ignorance if they use our fees and our money to educate the public as to what drone flyers are actually trying to accomplish. Okay, rant over. Thank you if you sat through this and watched me go through the process. Like I said, this is a totally different video from anything else I've done here on the channel. I just wanted to do it, to document it, to put it out there. We're all going to have to do it if we want to stay legal and responsible with our drone flights between or after June the 1st, 2019. Yeah, it costs $15. Yeah, it's kind of pointless. They could have really made it a lot better. But, it is what it is, and you can't fight City Hall, unfortunately. Thank you for watching. If you do enjoy the content we normally put out, feel free to subscribe. Always appreciate that. Have a great day. Thanks. Hey, everyone. Just a quick follow-up here. I printed off my pilot certificate, got that taken care of just out of interest's sake, in case you're wondering. Overall result, again, you need 65% to pass. I managed to get 74%. So it wasn't a super high score, but you know what? It's a pass-fail exam. The score is somewhat irrelevant. So they list 8 different subject areas. I think since a lot of this is listed in their documented information, I can share this without violating any rules. Air law, air traffic rules and procedures, 13 of 14 I got correct, which is not surprising to me because I consider those to kind of be the real meat and potatoes of these basic operation regulations. That's the stuff you really should know. So 13 out of 14 there. Yeah, I think my 2 years of experience with drones helped a lot. Remote piloted aircraft systems, they love using their acronyms, so RPAS, airframes, power plants, propulsions, and systems, 0 out of 2. I don't feel bad about that because I don't need to know that to fly a drone. Human factors, 2 out of 2. Hey, I am a human, so knowing the factors that go into flight is a good thing. Whether or not, I don't know what questions those were relating to, so I don't know if they were really relevant or not, but I'll take 2 out of 2. Meteorology, 0 out of 2. Again, this is not a weather exam. This is not a meteorology exam. This is flying a drone in basic circumstances. All I need to know about meteorology is it too windy? Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is it essentially safe for me to fly my drone? Beyond that, I don't need to know all those details. Navigation, 2 out of 4. Considering I can only fly my drone within visual line of sight, a lot of the navigation stuff isn't going to be relevant, but I guess it's good to know, but Flight operations, 4 out of 5. Hey, that's good. I am, operating a remotely piloted aircraft. It's good to know proper flight operations. I think a lot of the flight operations they talk about are completely irrelevant or overkill for what we're allowed to do with a basic certificate. But again, I'll take it. Theory of flight, 2 out of 2. Perfect. Do I need to know the theory of why my drone is in the air in order to fly it? No, I do not need to know the theory of flight to fly a drone. Thank God it was only 2 questions, and hey, I got them both right. Maybe a little bit of a, physics, science background from back in the day, way back in the day. Maybe that finally helped out a little bit. And radio telephony, 3 out of 4 on that. Again, guys, and guys here, I'm referring to Transport Canada. I'm not flying in controlled airspace. I'm not allowed to. I'm not communicating with other aircraft. I'm not communicating with control towers. Radio frequencies and all of this stuff is not relevant to a basic flight certificate. So come on, guys. You could really make the exam a lot more relevant. You could make it, I don't want to say easier, because I don't think, I think 65% is a pretty low benchmark for passing an exam to begin with. So I'm not saying it needs to be easier, but I think it needs to be more relevant for basic operations. There's a lot of stuff here that was really focusing on advanced operations that we don't need to know. All right, now, thank you very much. Let's have a great day.